this is Todd the Wildcat Christopher at TacticalBoxing.com. Why are stances so important? Stances are very important to fighting because you need stances in order to do a proper attack. If you're not on balance, if you don't have good stability and good balance, you're not going to launch a good attack. Your attack's going to be weak and slow, and even if you do an attack and you do make contact, you're going to be knocked off balance. And you're going to have to reset yourself, get your balance back on to launch another attack. That's going to mess up your combinations and your advanced fighting game. You don't want that to happen. So you got to have good stance. A lot of people's punches are not good because their stance from the very beginning is messed up, so they can't get a good punch. Also, it's going to mess up your defense. If you don't have a good stance, you're not going to have a good defense because you need that stability and that balance in order to slip and bob and weave and have a good defense. You're not going to have good footwork if you don't have good stance because stance gives you the good footwork so you can outmaneuver your foe and get into superior tactical positions. That's not going to happen if you don't have good stance. In Western martial arts, we describe stance as an A-frame. We want a nice solid base. We want a nice triangular shape through your body, nice stability. In Eastern martial arts and in traditional martial arts, we like to talk about the root system of a tree. A tree is only as strong as its root system. You're only as stable or strong this way as you are this way. And that's very good advice in fighting and for stances, but bad advice in dieting. But anyway, yeah. So stances are very important. To review, so you may be saying to yourself about now, you've convinced me stance is important. So how do you do it? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to show you the boxer stance. A lot of different martial arts teach a lot of different stances, but all of them come back to this universal stance because it's good for everything. And you can launch a lot of different attacks and a lot of different defenses and footworks from this basic stance I'm going to teach you. The boxers just call it a boxer stance. Taekwondo calls it a fighting stance. Other martial arts have similar names for it, but it's all a basic stance. Later on in the later video, we're going to talk about some more specialized stances. That's more of an advanced thing. We're going to talk about the basics right now. We're going to build on that foundation, as we said in installment 1. And from that foundation, we're going to get more and more advanced. So let's start with the basics. How do you do a boxer or a fighting stance? I want you to start with your body comfortably standing, with your feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart. I want you to take your left foot, if you're a right-handed person, or if you're a right-handed person, your left foot. Boxers put their left side out, if they're right-handed. They call that the orthodox stance. If they're left-handed, they put their right foot out. Because a boxer wants to put his weak side out. Okay? Now, other martial arts like to put the strong side out, and a lot of martial arts they use weapons like the strong side being out, because you don't want to really deflect sword blows with your hand. You want to deflect them with your weapon. But for boxers, in just general fighting, we like to have our weak side. Now, there's a reason for that. We'll talk about the jab in our installment number 3. Okay? But for now, we're just going to put our weak side out. So we're going to take our slightly shoulder width apart stance. We're going to take our left foot, and we're going to take one step. Then we're going to rotate both of our feet slightly to the right, thereby rotating and narrowing our body towards the target, making a smaller target for our opponent. Now, some people, when they do this, they are too square, and you give your opponent too much of a target. So you want to be slightly narrow to your opponent so that you're giving him less of a target. However, some people over-narrow themselves, and this is called blading, and they are more defensive and they're a smaller target, but they choke out a lot of their attacks. We'll talk about this in installment 3 when we do our right cross. You're not going to be able to do that if you're too bladed. Imagine, if you will, you're at the circus, and this is a tightrope. Notice that my feet are to either side of the tightrope. They're not on the tightrope. This would be called tight roping, or also called blading. No, but they are to either side of the tightrope. In boxing, this is called proper heel to toe alignment. The back foot, heel, is touching the tape, just barely, on the right side. And the left foot, the ball of the foot, or the toe, is almost touching the tightrope, or the line. Now if I did this southpaw, it would be the exact opposite. So this is orthodox. This is southpaw. Okay. Also notice that my feet are 45 degrees to the target. So if this line was pointing towards my target, these are aimed, my toes are aimed at 45 degrees to that. This is better for launching jabs and crosses and punches. You'll see a lot of other martial arts will point the lead toe because that's better for kicking. If you're in mixed martial arts, you could determine which style is better for you. But even if you were, you might want to adjust your strategy in the ring itself. And if you have more of an emphasis on boxing at any given time, then you'd want to do the 45 degrees. And then if you want to emphasize kicking, then you may want to switch. You can even do that in the ring. But for right now, we're talking about boxing. So we're going to do our 245s. Foot positioning in regards to our stance. But we need a good idea about our overall boxing posture, what's our whole body supposed to look like. We talked about below the belt. Let's talk about the basic entire posture. So we're going to talk about the torso or above the belt. But I'm going to talk a lot about your guard in a future installment about defense. So I'm just going to paint it in broad strokes right now. Okay? But we need to have this firm base of understanding overall boxing posture for future installments. So here we go. What are we supposed to look like head to toe? We've already discussed the feet. How about the knees? The knees should be bent. The back should be straight. The head should, your eyes should be tilted down slightly. Your chin should be tucked. Your arms should be up. Your elbows should be close to your body to protect your body. They shouldn't be tight gripping your body. They should just be loosely hanging. But they should be there, and they shouldn't be winging out, but they should be close to your body to protect your body. Your fists should be at your chin, at your cheeks. By putting them at your cheeks, you have optimum visual perception. So you don't want them so high that they block your vision. You don't want them so low that they expose your chin. So you want to look right over your fists. This would be a good, strong boxing posture. You're ready for a jab, you're ready for a cross. We'll talk about that in future installments. Well, until our next installment, remember, the more sweat in the gym, the less blood in the ring. This is Todd, the Wildcat Christopher at TacticalBoxing.com, signing off.